Hey guys, tonight we wake up before the sun, before the sound of muskets, before the distant roar of change starts crawling down the boulevards. You blink in the candlelight, wrapping your rough wool coat tighter around your shoulders, the scent of unwashed bodies, and yesterday's turnip stew still lingering in your nostrils. Outside, the baker's delivery cart creaks across cobbled streets, its wheels rattling like bones. A rat scurries into a sewer with a piece of bread that probably cost more than your weekly wages. You're in pre-revolutionary France, and while history loves to talk about guillotines and philosophers, you're just trying to find breakfast. There's the palace, of course. Versailles. The air practically glows with dairy fat. Inside, someone is probably gnawing on a sugar-dusted croquembouche right now. You'd need a telescope to see that world from where you stand. In the royal kitchens, copper pans gleam, and servants hustle with cream eggs. Truffles, none of which you've even smelled before. You've got a pot, some onions, maybe a scrap of stale bread, and somehow it's enough. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is for you. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You crouch beside the embers, slicing onions with a dull knife. Tears sting your eyes, but they're from the fumes you tell yourself. That or the fact that your last piece of salt pork was eaten 3 days ago. You drop the onions into the pot, hear the gentle hiss as they meet oil and stir slowly. The scent begins to rise, sweet, earthy, a tiny miracle in a wooden bowl. Back then, the divide between rich and poor wasn't just in land or clothes, it was in smells. Historians still argue whether smell shaped class as much as speech. The rich stank of lavender milk and roasted pheasant. The poor sweat garlic and boiled roots. Food was identity. Your onion soup didn't just fill your stomach. It told the world you belonged to the hungry half of France. At court, dining was a spectacle. Gold-rimmed plates, 20 courses, dishes sculpted to look like swans or ships. Every meal a performance. You chew slowly, listening to the faint echoes of laughter and harpsichord through cracked shutters, wondering if they've ever eaten with their hands. But in the village, meals are survival drills. Soup stretches scraps into dinner. You've learned to make broth from bones too small to gnaw to save beet peels like treasure. There's a neighbor who once faked a fever just to get someone to bring soup over. It worked, too. Onion soup has sympathy built in. Did you know that French onion soup used to be a dish for kings? Louis X allegedly invented it while drunk and trapped in a hunting lodge with nothing but onions, butter, and champagne. You chuckle at the thought, drunk royalty stumbling into peasant cuisine. It's a good story, but historians still argue whether it's complete nonsense. Either way, the joke's on him. You've got the same soup minus the butter onions half rotten, and the champagne replaced by water from the town pump. The thing is, while nobles chewed duck and saffron sauce and whispered scandal, you and millions like you were learning to survive with 6 ingredients and a wooden spoon. There's a revolution coming, and it doesn't start with gunpowder, it starts here. In soup, in hunger, in you. And if you're wondering whether this is going to get worse, oh yes, much worse. But, hey, at least you're not eating cake. Yet. You hear it first in whispers. She said what? The phrase spreads like butter melting on a too warm plate. Let them eat cake. It's ridiculous, decadent, and absolutely delicious as gossip. But did Marie Antoinette actually say it? Historians still argue whether the quote was hers or borrowed from an earlier tale. Either way, it sticks like stale brioche to the roof of France's collective mouth. You're standing near the baker's stall when you hear someone hiss it under their breath. A woman with hollow cheeks spits on the cobblestone. Let them eat cake, she scoffs. Let them eat onions. And just like that, a myth becomes a weapon. The funny thing is, cake wasn't even a regular part of most people's diets. It was an abstract idea. Softness, sweetness layers of things you couldn't afford. You remember cake from weddings. Once. When someone who knew someone got married. You had a crumb. You chewed it like it was sacrament. The idea that someone could eat cake casually, that's more insulting than a slap. Still, there she is, Marie, with her powdered hair and unreachable eyebrows frozen in your mind's theater, delivering her fictional line like a villain in an overacted play. The palace denies it, of course. The queen loved the people, they said. She was just misunderstood. She also wore diamonds the size of soup ladles, so there's that. One scholar argued it might have been a mistranslation. Cake in the quote could actually mean brioche, which, while still fancy, had a legal requirement to include butter and eggs, a kind of regulated indulgence. But really, it doesn't matter what she said. It mattered what you heard. It mattered how it felt in your gut. Like a stone. Like a growl. And now, every time someone mentions cake, you bristle. You picture a tower of sponge and cream and sugar, and your fists clench a little. Because it's not just food, it's proof of who eats and who watches. It's a dessert-shaped guillotine balanced on whipped cream. Ironically, cake sales plummet. Bakers quietly remove the word from their signs. No one wants to be accused of monarchist tendencies via their dessert menu. You pass a patisserie where someone scratched out gâteau and replaced it with loaf. It doesn't fool anyone. You start calling things revolutionary biscuits as a joke. It sticks. One friend suggests equality eclairs, and you both laugh until your stomach growls again. That's the thing, hunger has a way of sharpening humor into something a little dangerous. But jokes aside, it's serious. People are angry. You're angry. And somewhere deep down beneath the layers of rage and empty bellies, the idea of cake becomes the perfect villain. Soft, pretty, useless, and just far enough out of reach to hurt. The king's chef once wrote that Marie didn't even like sweets much, preferred light fare, watercress, clear broths. You almost pity her for that almost, but you're too hungry for pity. So you walk past the baker's window, smell the sugar, and keep your fists in your pockets. Cake becomes shorthand for oblivious power. Onion soup becomes a counterpoint, humble, tear-worthy reel. You ladle it out with pride now, not just to eat, but to say, this is mine, this is ours. This is the taste of people who know what food is worth. You huddle near a fire made of scrap wood and old crates, the kind of fire that stinks more of desperation than warmth. Onion soup again. Not by choice, but by necessity. It's the one dish that keeps showing up like a stubborn guest in your life. You can stretch an onion to feed a family, especially if you have bread crusts to float on top like soggy lifeboats. As bread prices climb faster than the gossip train, this soup becomes salvation. Some call it the poor man's perfume because, if you're lucky, the smell clings to your hands for hours. A strange sort of comfort. Historians still argue whether onion soup originated as a peasant's dish or a court's midnight snack, but either way, it lands in your bowl, now like a blessing. You've become a soup alchemist, adding vinegar genius, a splash of beer revolutionary. You overheard a widow down the road whisper that she used carrot peelings last week. Luxurious. You try it. It's almost too sweet. You eat it anyway. One day you drop by the market and someone's selling Liberty broth. It's onion soup. They just added a bay leaf. You nod respectfully. Marketing matters even during Revolution. You help stir a communal pot on Sundays, now doling out bowls to anyone who looks like they might weep from the smell alone. You don't ask questions. The soup's the answer. Your friend jokes that onion soup is the new national anthem. You hum it between bites. It's more nourishing than most speeches you've heard lately. It doesn't lie. It doesn't promise. It just fills the hollow spot and asks for nothing but a few minutes of boiling and a pinch of salt. And salt, oh salt. You could trade your brother for a sack of it. Maybe even your brother's goat, if you had a goat. Salt's the new gold. You hide yours in a hole under the stove wrapped in linen like treasure. Everyone you know has a salt stash. Some hide it better than their children. You remember the day your neighbor fainted. Not from drama, like in those pulp novels, but because she hadn't eaten in 2 days. You brought her soup. She cried into it thick, fat tears splashing into the broth like extra seasoning. You said nothing. You both slurped in silence. It was sacred. People talk about revolutions like they're all guillotines and declarations, but most of it happens here in soup lines and empty cupboards in the soft whimper of a hungry child trying to sleep. Onion soup holds a nation together better than any speech Robespierre's ever made. You know someone who tried to make soup with grass. You tried it too. Regretted it for 3 days. One kid down the street swears he found a recipe for mock beef using burnt onions and stale bread. You called it ambition stew. It wasn't terrible. And then there's the black market for bouillon cubes. Tiny cubes of fake flavor passed hand to hand like contraband, sold in whispers like scandal. You traded a pair of wool socks for one. It made the soup taste like someone once thought about meat in the same room. A miracle. You know it's bad when even the cats start eyeing your pot. You swat one away, gently apologizing. You'd share if you could. Probably. You think back to a time years ago when onion soup was a late-night dish, something to chase wine and laughter. Now it's the main event, the star of your table, which is to say a barrel with a cloth on top. Still, there's something proud in it. You eat with dignity. You eat with revolution in your belly. This is food that survives, food that outlasts kings. You ladle another bowl blow on it gently and let the steam wash over your face like a cheap facial. Feels luxurious in a way. You smile despite yourself. Onion soup again. Still here. Like you. The guillotine doesn't smell like blood, not from here. It smells like onions. Strange, right? But it's true. You wait in line for your ration and someone whispers, "Another one today, another neck, another name." You stir your soup. They used to say bread was the body of the nation. Now it's the broth. You've seen people barter stew for secrets. A thick enough bowl might buy you another day warmth, silent survival. Your neighbor down the street makes excellent bouillon. Rich, dark, heavy with flavor. She's never asked where the bones come from. You don't ask either. You remember when the list started. Not just for arrests for groceries. Cabbage out. Onions only with permit. You once queued 5 hours for leeks. Got 2. Felt like winning a lottery designed by someone who hated you. You start growing herbs in a pot on your windowsill. Thyme. Parsley. When someone comments on the smell, you claim it's for medicinal tea. It's not. It's for soup. But you say it with a cough just in case. Historians still argue whether scarcity or fear fueled the worst days more. You suspect it's both. Nothing sharpens paranoia like an empty stomach. You see a man buy a single egg with a coin and a ring. He holds it like a holy relic, walks home cradling it in cloth. You whisper a prayer for him. And the egg. You hear the term menu of mercy. It's what people call meals shared with prisoners. Sometimes volunteers pass soup through the bars. Sometimes guards join them. Food dissolves uniforms in a way politics never could. You once gave half your stew to a man with shaking hands. He said nothing, just cried. You stirred what was left and told yourself it tasted better that way. You used to judge meals by spices. Now, by temperature. Is it hot? Then it's heaven. You burn your tongue, you don't care. Pain means something real touched you. The street smells like turnips and gunpowder. You try to guess which is more dangerous today. Someone jokes turnips, always the turnips. Your friend's cousin writes satirical menus, executioner's entree, Last Supper sausage. They're morbid, they're funny. They make you feel guilty for laughing. You laugh anyway. You stir your pot. You whisper thanks. You eat every drop. The spoon scrapes the bottom. You let it echo. You're still here. You walk through a narrow alley and smell it before you see it. Onion, bay leaf, maybe garlic if someone's lucky. A bubbling pot sits on a crate surrounded by people in ragged coats and bright eyes. It's not charity, it's strategy. The sans-culottes are feeding the revolution. They call it the people's kitchen. You call it survival with seasoning. It's open to everyone so long as you stir share and swear at least once a day about the aristocracy. Easy enough. You add your onion to the pot. Someone claps. Communal soup is a performance, and today you're a star. Historians still argue whether these kitchen clubs were more political than practical. But here, ladling stew into wooden bowls, you feel it power. The kind that comes from filling stomachs and chanting between bites. You meet a woman who recites revolutionary poems while dicing carrots. Her verse is uneven, but the carrots are perfect. She tells you, you feed people, they listen longer. You nod. You've seen it. There's talk of banning sugar too bourgeois. Someone suggests maple sap as a replacement. A child yells, "Sap for justice." You snort onion through your nose. You host your first soup rally. People show up with spoons and slogans. Liberté, égalité, potage. It's messy, beautiful. Someone brings radishes shaped like little guillotines. Unsettling but artistic. You design a banner with a steaming bowl on it. The broth swirls into a clenched fist. Very avant-garde. Very edible revolution. A traveling musician sings about broth and freedom. His chorus is just soup yelled at increasing volume. It catches on. You hear kids shouting it in alleys. One night, someone tries to spike the pot with stolen truffle oil. The committee votes. It's unanimously rejected. Too elitist. The oil is donated to a local lamp. You eat with strangers, then again with friends, and then again with future collaborators. Soup connects faster than pamphlets ever could. You write a recipe called the resistance reduction. It's mostly water and rage, but it tastes like hope. This is no longer about eating, it's about unity. Simmered slowly, seasoned with dreams. The soup on the street corner is boiling again. Third time today. You'd think people would get tired of onion, but no. It's more than food now, it's a message. A ladle in the hand, steam in the air, revolution in the bowl. You approach with your tin cup. The man stirring today wears a sash that says Minister of Seasoning. It's a joke. Mostly. He winks and sprinkles dried herbs like he's signing a treaty. The broth is rich for once. Someone found a marrow bone. You can taste history in it. You sip carefully like it's classified information. Someone brings bread shaped like liberty caps. The crust is almost too sharp to eat. You eat it anyway. Style points. Historians still argue whether these soup corners were intentional acts of propaganda or just the natural result of shared hunger. You don't care. You just know you've never felt more political with food in your hand. There's a girl handing out onion pins. Tiny felt shapes each with a stitched smile. Because onions cry with us, she says. You wear yours proudly near your heart. You stir the pot for a bit humming along with a man singing an old tavern tune. The rhythm's off, but the smell is on point. Someone starts reading from a pamphlet. Another interrupts with a potato recipe. The two arguments merge into something neither edible nor coherent. Still, everyone applauds. You see a boy with no shoes, you hand him your extra bowl. He doesn't say thank you, he doesn't need to. A woman yells, "Soup is sovereignty," the crowd erupts. A spoon is held high like a torch. You swear the steam takes shape, fist flag flame. You wonder if anyone else will write about this. Probably not, but it's happening, and it's warm. Your fingers numb from the cold wrap tighter around the bowl. You raise it to your lips. You drink deeply. You are not alone. You pass by a bakery and stop in your tracks. The window is empty. Not of bread of beauty. No cakes, no tarts, no artfully arranged eclairs. Just rough loaves, burnt edges, and a sign that reads, "No royal desserts here." Patisseries used to be temples. Now they're liabilities. The revolution has no sweet tooth, at least not publicly. You remember the golden towers of millefeuille from your childhood? The sugar glittered like snow. You cried once when yours fell on the ground. Now you pretend it never existed. Everyone does. Someone you know was questioned for owning a sugar sifter. Suspiciously delicate. Aristocratic behavior, the guard said. She argued it was a family heirloom. They took it anyway. Historians still argue whether pastry chefs were truly targeted or just collateral damage in a war against symbols. You suspect the former. A macaron is worth 1,000 implications. Your friend works in a back alley confection cellar. They bake in secret. Coded Knox dim lantern sugar rationing like wartime morphine. The raspberry tart tastes like treason. You eat it slowly. Cake culture doesn't disappear. It goes underground. People whisper about midnight crumbles and forbidden fondants. You attend a secret gathering where a man reads revolutionary text while slicing gâteau. It's surreal, deliciously so. You try to replicate an eclair using mashed turnip and molasses. The result is memorable. You name it La Révolution. People pretend to enjoy it. Bread becomes the safe choice. Rugged, honest, revolutionary. You learn to love its coarseness. It cracks your tooth. You spit into a napkin. Red and white. Looks patriotic. You hear about a bakery that was burned for displaying a cream puff in the window? No one was hurt. The puff wasn't so lucky. Someone starts a campaign. Down with dessert, up with dignity. You submit an anonymous letter suggesting, "Can't we have both?" It's ignored. Your spoon dips into soup, but your thoughts linger on pastry. The contrast sharpens everything. Sweetness becomes memory. Memory becomes resistance. The soup simmers. You don't add sugar, but you think about it. The town square smells like cabbage and slogans. A chalkboard lists the Republican menu for the day: equality stew, fraternity hash, and liberty loaf. They all taste the same, mostly like turnip. You stare at the list. It's absurd, but in a strangely comforting way, as if renaming dinner somehow gives it political meaning. Someone hands you a pamphlet with meal plans that align with revolutionary virtues. Mondays no meat, Tuesdays root vegetables only, Fridays community fasting and reflection. You follow them, mostly. Historians still argue whether these dietary reforms were symbolic or strategic. You think why not both A people fed on ideas as much as onions? The word omelette is banned briefly. Too French. You call it egg round. It catches on. A tavern near the dock starts serving Unity eggs. They're just regular eggs with paprika, but the name sells. You try to name your soup the People's Broth. It's not catchy. You rebrand. Boulevard Soup. People laugh. You feel like a poet. Menus evolve into manifestos. You see one that reads, Today's special soup of solidarity side of dismantled privilege. You applaud. Quietly. There's a brief obsession with beets. Red like revolution. Every dish turns crimson. Your teeth stain. Your napkins look like evidence. One man protests the beet obsession with a white turnip salad. He's fined for lack of enthusiasm. He pays in garlic. You remember when eating was just eating. Now it's theater. Every meal a role. Every bite a line. You're not sure who's directing anymore. Someone creates a revolutionary cookbook. It has 12 recipes and 97 slogans. The paper smells like vinegar. You read it cover to cover. At home, you ladle soup and whisper slogans between bites. Down with oppression. Up with potatoes. A child draws the flag with a spoon. You hang it on your wall. You eat. You believe. You burp. Quietly. You bite into a wedge of cheese and freeze. Not from cold, from fear. Is this a royalist cheese? Once upon a time, cheese was cheese. Now it's political. Brie suspect. Too soft, too noble, too belly of the king. Hard cheeses are safer, gritty, sharp. Revolutionary. You hear someone was arrested for hoarding camembert. Another claims goat cheese is inherently egalitarian. A third just wants cheese without commentary. Poor soul. Historians still argue whether cheese was genuinely used to root out class sympathizers or whether it became an edible scapegoat. Either way, you sniff every bite like it might betray you. You make people's fromage at home, curdled milk pressed between two bricks. Tastes like regret, but it's yours. One man opens an ethical dairy. His cows are named Rousseau, Danton, and Jean-Jacques. The milk comes with pamphlets. It's either brilliant or unbearable, possibly both. Someone hangs a wedge of blue cheese from a flagpole. No one knows what it means. It molds into a strange symbol anyway. There's talk of banning dairy entirely. Too feudal. You wonder if margarine counts as dissent. You ask. The room goes silent. You change the subject. You attend a gathering where people eat cheese blindfolded. To eliminate prejudice, they say, you accidentally eat soap. You applaud anyway. A new trend emerges: revolutionary pairings. Cheese and bread that symbolize dialectics. Goat cheese on burnt toast. Freedom on a plate. Or so the pamphlet says. You try to host your own pairing night. Someone accuses your spread of monarchist undertones. You cry into your cheddar. You switch back to onion soup. You trust onions. They never pick sides, they just make everyone cry equally. You scrape the last bit of cheese off your knife. You taste uncertainty. Still you swallow. You spread a cloth on the grass by the river. Not far away, a guillotine has been dismantled. It's been replaced with musicians' bread baskets and cautious optimism. You're at a Thermidorian picnic. Everyone brings something. A carrot tart, A suspiciously buttery biscuit. Someone dares a lemon custard. It quivers like your faith in this new phase of the revolution. You sit with strangers who used to scream slogans. Now they sip tea and say things like restoration of dignity between bites. It's surreal, comforting, slightly unnerving. Historians still argue whether these post-terror meals were signs of healing or denial. You feel both. Like eating cake at a funeral, a boy chases a dog holding a sausage. Laughter. For a second, everything feels normal, until someone mentions Robespierre and the conversation curdles like spoiled cream. You taste jam for the first time in months. You want to cry. You don't. You lick the spoon instead. Quietly, someone brings wine. There's debate: is it celebration or regression? You sip cautiously. It tastes like endings. The lemon tart makes its rounds. You hesitate. You remember the last person who baked something rich, they vanished. But you take a slice anyway. The crust is divine. The filling even better. You imagine the taste as a whisper. It's okay now. You catch someone eyeing your plate. Not with hunger, with history. Every bite means something. You eat slower. Someone proposes a toast to the Republic. Another adds, to dessert. You clink cups. Carefully. A dog sits by your side. You offer it bread. It sniffs, then walks away. Humbling. You look at the river, the sky, the crumbs. You wonder if peace tastes like lemon. You hope so. You smell something different. Smoky, meaty, efficient, military rations. Napoleon's army is passing through, and with them comes a new kind of food. Portable, predictable, disciplined. You watch as men unwrap tins with mechanical pride. The future tastes like salt and logistics. You're offered to sample some kind of preserved beef, gelatinous and beige. You accept. You chew. You nod. You regret it. Slightly. Gone are the wild soups and poetic stews. Now it's protein by weight and carbs by schedule. The cuisine of conquest. It doesn't comfort. It prepares. Historians still argue whether Napoleon truly changed the national diet or just industrialized it. But you see the difference. Meals have edges now. Corners, labels. You meet a man who swears by hardtack. Says it taught him patience. You try it. It teaches you about chipped teeth. There's admiration, sure. Napoleon feeds thousands. No one starves, but no one savors either. A woman opens a patriotic canteen. Her menu: boiled lentils, twice boiled lentils, and a mystery mash called Victory Slurry. You applaud her commitment. You leave hungry. You miss onion soup. Its messiness, its soul. These tins don't cry with you. They stack. That's all. There's a parade. Flags flap. Drums pound. A soldier drops his ration pack. A child steals it, runs. The soldier lets him. Progress. You taste a new item: powdered chocolate. Revolutionary, they say. You cough. It's sweet and bitter. Like most things now. You meet a cook turned quartermaster. He shows you his recipe book, rows of numbers and salt ratios. No drawings, no soul. You smile. He doesn't. You try to make soup again, from scratch. The neighbor kids watch like it's a forbidden ritual. You let them stir. The steam rises, the future marches. But you still simmer. The years roll by and kings come back in different costumes. Constitutional monarchs, emperors, presidents with powdered wigs, but you keep making soup. It's the one thing that hasn't betrayed you. Onion, fat, water, salt. The holy quartet. You don't call it a revolution anymore. You just call it dinner. You sit by your stove, older now. Your hands remember the motions without thinking. Slice. Stir. Simmer. History boils differently in your pot. Children ask you why the soup smells that way. You tell them it's the scent of memory. They giggle. They don't understand? That's okay. They will. Historians still argue whether French cuisine was truly born in the Revolution or merely repackaged. You smile at that. It was never about cuisine. It was about making something out of almost nothing. That's cooking. That's life. You hear a new bakery opened, sells cake proudly. No one protests. You visit, you look at a tart with raspberries and powdered sugar. You walk past it. You don't need it. You return home. Your soup bubbles gently like a cat purring on the stove. You taste. It's good. It's always good. It's better than good. It's yours. Steam curls upward, touches your cheek like a kiss from the past. You are full. Word count 1034. Wind down. Section 15 continuation. The fire is low now, just a pulse of light flickering against the back wall. You sit spoon resting in an empty bowl, the warmth clinging to your chest like a quiet goodbye. Around you the silence deepens, not threatening, just patient. The kind of silence that makes you breathe slower. Your hands feel calmer, your shoulders heavier but softer. The taste of onion lingers gentle and sweet like something that was always there. Outside the world still buzzes. But here in this tiny moment you've stepped out of time. You think about how simple things endure, flavors, rituals, stories, whispered over soup pots. The past doesn't vanish, it simmers. So you close your eyes, you let the fan hum. You let the darkness settle around the last image in your mind, steam rising from a bowl wrapping the room in memory. End of script. Sweet dreams.